Hello, Sioux Falls, and welcome to today's edition of Planning Preview. Today, our meeting is going to focus on the items coming into the July 6th meeting to the Planning Commission. And here with me, as always, is Jeffrey Schmidt of Building and Planning Services.
Yes.
How you doing, Jeff?
Good, good.
Excellent. I don't think it takes much driving around town to notice that construction season is well underway, whether it's roads or buildings or just random things going on in residential neighborhoods. What can you tell us about getting ready for construction season in your area or just in general today?
Sure. I thought it was a good time to kind of start talking about that with everybody. And construction season for us is really no different than construction season for you at home. If you're at home and you're thinking about doing a construction project, think about what it took for you to get there. You really, it's not like you woke up one morning and go, hey, let's do this project. You kind of thought about it as a family, and then you had to kind of design it or where you were going to, and then a lot of times you had to budget for it. That's the same process that the City of Sioux Falls had to go through. A lot of these construction projects that we have, we don't just decide to do them over the weekend and have them pop up. They may seem like that sometimes for you, and that's why I thought I'd talk about them. Our construction projects, whether they're road projects or a water project, they take a lot of work. We talk to the property owners. We have a lot of design work. We have to really figure out how they're going to be built. Along with that, you know, some of these projects we have a 20-year plan for how they're going to move through the process. And then again, we also have to look at our budgets. We have to look at our budget and see when we can fund them, when we can get them into the program. And that's looking at, you know, the taxes that are coming in, so when we can get them funded. And then in talking to the property owners that they most impact, then we go ahead and construct those projects. And again, everybody knows we live in South Dakota, so it's construction season, and so then we build the projects, and we hope that we help the property owners to the best of our abilities to get these projects done. So I just wanted people to understand our projects are a lot like yours, and if you can kind of think of them that way, they're a real inconvenience when you're doing them even at home, but when they're done, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I did it. So
what you're saying again is the city even has to plan ahead? There's
yes.
not just an unlimited bucket somewhere?
There's not an unlimited budget somewhere or a bucket somewhere, and we also have to talk to our significant others. Yes.
Very good. Excellent. Well, with that, I mean, it's timely. We're just rolling right into the different rezones here. And again, Spirit of Construction speaks out here. First item, we're going from an RT1 single-family residential to traditional C2 commercial neighborhood and streetcar. So basically, single family into a more commercial stance. What can you tell us about this one on South Minnesota?
As we always kind of say with Planning Preview, and I'm going to start out here for some of these, it's always nice with Planning Preview because you guys at home and watching TV online can see the exhibits that Kurt and I are talking about. This exhibit, this rezoning, is between 21st and 22nd Street on the east side of Minnesota towards Dakota Avenue. It on Minnesota Avenue is already commercial, but then on the east side towards Dakota, it's RT, which is residential. So they're kind of straddling this line, and they need to expand part of their commercial building in order to do their building expansion. Sure. So they already have the parking, they already have their landscaping there, but to make everything work on their building plans, they need more land, which can't be in the residential zoning district. So they need to meet with the stakeholders, they need to meet with they have a design, they need to meet the property owners, they need to look at their budget, and then they got to see if they can go forward with their construction plans. In the meantime, they'll come to Planning Commission. That's the first step publicly, is they talk to Planning Commission on the rezonings. After Planning Commission, a recommendation on a rezoning will go forward to City Council, and then City Council ultimately decides if this is a yes or no project.
Yep, very good. So with that, you can kind of say there is a process and it gets vetted thoroughly.
Yes.
So there's should be no surprises or anything.
Correct.
Uncomfortable
For the property owner as well as for the adjacent properties. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, very good. Our next item, we're going from a version of residential to another, RD1 Twin Home Duplex to RT1 Single Family Traditional at 1800 block of East Mulberry Street.
This one, again, is an expansion project. I'm so glad now in hindsight that I started talking about construction at the very beginning. A property owner has a single family house and he wants to do an expansion of his single family, but the land next to him is zoned RD, which is for twin homes and townhomes. So if he wants to expand a single family home in the RT, he needs more RT land, residential land.
Sure.
So he's just looking to do a building expansion.
Excellent then. Our next item is going to be a rezone from an RA1 apartment residential to an office district on the 4900 block of South Cottonwood. Kind of changing gears there a little.
Right, but this is pretty typical, and we'll see more of these as we go through the agenda today. RA is residential apartments, and office is office for an office building. And they're pretty interchangeable throughout the city of Sioux Falls. A lot of times, and we'll see in the agenda, we call it live-work. You can either live there or you can work there. And so in this example, they currently have it for living, but they want to actually change it to a work zone. And so then they have to come in and request to zone it that way. They don't want the option of having it either or. They're going to change it actually from apartments and only allow it to be for an office building.
This next item hopefully can give us a little color here. When I think of West 57th and 229, that's a pretty full area, but looks like we're going from a live-work district to office, or excuse me, live-work and office to C2 commercial. So is this farther down east of that intersection?
It's right underneath the overpass. Overpass, the interstate, and it's the ground that's currently under construction right now. So on the north side of 57th Street, by the Big Sioux River and the levees, there's the old stables. Okay, and I think we even call it sometimes hidden stables. It might be, I think it's called that. But they've zoned it in the past, and you can see here they've had it zoned live work, they've had it zoned commercial, but in the back, live work, as I've already said, could be used for apartments or office, and they want to zone it just to office. They don't need the flexibility, or they don't want the flexibility. That's really up to them. But in the back side, further to the north along the Big Sioux River, they just want office buildings.
Excellent. Our next item, a C2 commercial neighborhood district to an I1 light industrial. 5500 North Quarry Avenue. 5500
North Quarry. This is up north of the interstate on North Cliff Avenue.
Okay.
So up there is quite a bit of industrial on the east side of Cliff, but along Cliff Avenue there's a lot of commercial zoning. So this kind of straddles the area between commercial and industrial, and right now the market's driving more for warehouse distribution, more industrial than retail convenience driven. So they're saying, well, you know, we don't really have a demand right now for C2 commercial, maybe more in town, south of the interstate, so they want to rezone it to I1 light industrial for that warehouse distribution type of use.
Very good. The next one here, an RA2 apartment residential moderate density and office districts 2 live work district, 3800 North Career Avenue area. So kind of changing the landscape there a little bit.
Changing the landscape, but a pretty similar theme that we have going on this month in July. We're up on the north end, on the west side of town, they had this RA2 apartment area and office where they could do live or work. They actually want to do it in the same building. So their concept right now is they want to build apartments, and in the apartment complex they want to have a daycare center. So then they want to do live work, and we allow that in a live work complex. Traditionally it's not the right word, but we've seen this in the past on West 57th Street. Along West 57th Street by Louise Avenue, you see apartments above, and down below you see offices. You'll see like a dental clinic or an insurance agent on the bottom level along 50. Well, that's the same thing they'd like to do up north, is then they can put offices down below, or maybe a child care center, which is great. We've talked about it in the planning office for a long time. Why wouldn't that make sense? Then at some point, the people that are living below can check their kids into daycare and go to work, but they don't have to transport the kids, and the kids are familiar with the area, and then it's a nice mix of live, work.
No, very good. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Next item, RA2 apartment residential to, sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Live work district for allowed forms, 2600 block of East 8th Street.
I won't replay myself, just think about the previous one. It's a great use on East 8th Street. They had it zoned for apartments already, so if they got this denied, they'd still build apartments, but instead of just apartments, they want to also put it into daycare.
No, very good. Yeah, won't belabor that one.
Yeah.
The next item, a preliminary subdivision plan for the intersection basically of West 85th Street and east of Minnesota Avenue.
And 85th and Minnesota on the east side there's more and more development coming in. It's a mix of apartments and commercial land, and the preliminary subdivision plan, as we're getting out of the rezonings, is after the land's been zoned, they lay out the lot and blocks, they put in the streets, they put in the utilities, water, sewer, storm sewer, and that's what the preliminary standpoint is.
No, very good. Next item, I think this relates to one we've already talked about, but conditional use for on-sale alcohol within 500 feet of a sensitive land use at the West 57th Street and I-229 location.
As Kurt and I already mentioned, up on 57th and I-229, the land's already been zoned there. They're already doing the grading work and filling in there, putting in their utilities. But as part of the zoning that's already there for commercial, they want to start putting in, they may have some applicants already to do restaurants or on-sale alcohol, but they're within some residential areas, so they have to do a conditional use before they can actually build that use.
No, makes a lot of sense. Another item here for consideration in a conditional use is an office building to not include a pitched roof and exterior masonry at 6800 block of South Minnesota. Kind of out of character for that area, wouldn't it be? Or what do you think?
Yeah, and thank you for stressing that, Kurt, because we could have missed that. The standards that we have with shaped places right now are you can build an office building in an office district as long as if you're adjacent to single family, that you're compatible with the single family neighborhood.
Sure.
And then you sit there and you go, well, what's compatible with a single family neighborhood? Well, you have to have a pitched roof and exterior masonry, because then that's what typically the residential neighborhoods have. They have pitched roofs. But this one's saying we're not going to have a pitched roof and masonry, so therefore we're going to notify the adjacent property owners. The property owners get to come out and say, if they're okay with it not looking like that, then say yes. If they're not okay with it, then we're going to have a discussion. So it's at 6810 South Minnesota Avenue, and again, you can see the exhibits here on Planning Preview, and then bring your comments to the Planning Commission.
Very good. And again, this is going to be specific to the items we'll talk about at the July 6th Planning Commission
Correct.
meeting. Begins at 6 o'clock at Carnegie Town Hall. So we look forward to seeing everybody there who is interested in these items. With that, we'll see you next month.